What did I tell you? What did I tell you? I told you in the last episode of Dumb Arguments concerning Tyre Nichols that they're going to go after the white cop. They want him bad. They have to get him. It's so important. They have 5 black police officers, and this is just really embarrassing. But only if we can get some white guy in there, then we can save some face. And so they have turned their guns on this poor dude. This is Preston Hemphill. He wasn't even at the scene of the murder, but they're going after him anyway. And it's going to get vicious. Hey, Preston, run. They're coming after you. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnny Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnny Walker Dread Show.
Yes, I know that I've been speaking in a lighthearted tone here, but this is actually deadly serious. They not only want this man fired, they want him convicted. And in fact, if he was charged more than the others, it would absolutely make them happier than hell. Those 5 black police officers, they're not going to be going after them. This is the guy they want. All right, let's read it. Memphis police officer Preston Hemphill, a 6th officer involved in the Tyre Nichols traffic stop, has been relieved of duty during an ongoing investigation, according to Memphis police. So he has been placed on administrative leave. I don't even think that's warranted, but okay. Hemphill deployed his taser during the confrontation. Oh my, he deployed his taser, which is within police policy. It's non-lethal. Oh, sure, in rare instances, it can be lethal, but in this case, it wasn't. In fact, the taser had no effect at all. Only one prong embedded itself into Tyre, and therefore there was no closed circuit, no electricity. It had no effect at all. But let's read on. In his own body camera video, Hemphill is seen chasing Nichols down the road, but then turns back to the scene of the initial traffic stop. It turns out that Tyre is in a little bit better shape than Preston, and that's why he turned back. He wasn't going to catch Tyre. But that also goes to show you that when Tyre fled, he was perfectly healthy. He was healthier than Preston. I mean, by a long shot. Sorry, Preston, but it's true. You need to cut down on your weight a little. So when Tyre fled, he was perfectly healthy, and Preston didn't even show up at the murder scene. Let's read on. Hemphill was heard on his body camera video saying twice, "I hope they stomp his ass." They didn't even hear him. They were gone, and therefore it had no effect on what happened. I mean, yeah, okay, it probably wasn't a very nice thing to say, and, I could see a disciplinary action maybe coming from that, but there's nothing criminal about saying that. In fact, I would argue that's a First Amendment right. He's not ordering anybody to stomp his ass. He's just expressing his desires that they do it. Hemphill, who was white, has not been fired or charged. Hemphill was relieved when the other officers were relieved, a Memphis police spokesperson said on Monday. Oh, there he is. You're going to see a lot of that photograph. Oh, you betcha. And while the other officers have those little small ones, that you see, like little tiny ones in the corner of the article, this dude's photograph is going to be blown up for maximum effect. Guarantee it. Kind of like the way you see it there. Full page. And by the way, the fact that they blew his portrait up full page is no accident. The people who actually format these articles, they know what they're doing. They do this on purpose. And so they made a deliberate decision to make this thing as large as possible. They're trying to send a message. Hemphill's attorney, Lee Gerald, said earlier that Hemphill was the 3rd officer at Nichols' initial traffic stop. The first body camera footage released Friday was from Hemphill's device. As per departmental regulations, Officer Hemphill activated his body cam. He was never present at the second scene. He is cooperating with officials in this investigation. Hey, I have a little advice for you there, Gerald. You better be damn careful how you treat this. You be too nonchalant about this, and the mob will start to work up a frenzy against your client. The no comment will not work here. And again, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm just basing this on my perception. But my perception is that you better get in front of this thing, and you better denounce these allegations really hot and heavy. My client was not at the site. He is absolutely freaking innocent, and it is an absolute travesty of justice that people are singling my client out. They're only wanting him singled out because he's white, and we will fight this to the utmost. Okay, I don't know. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but I imagine they could probably do a better job on that. But whatever the case, man, you can't be too cavalier about this. You saw what that got those other guys there at the George Floyd killing. Attorneys for Nichols' family, Ben Crump, oh God. Oh, by the way, the Jaheim McMillan case that he was all hot and bothered over, I went to his Twitter, and he hasn't mentioned that in a long time. He's dropped it. He's gone. Jaheim McMillan, it turns out, was almost certainly armed, and Benjamin Crump has no more interest in that case. He's moved on to this one. And Antonio Romanucci said they were extremely disappointed that Hemphill was relieved of duty but not fired or charged. Fired for what? You show me the policy that he violated. But you see, they don't care. They want him punished to the utmost. The lawyers are also questioning why the Memphis police did not immediately announce Hemphill's name or that he was relieved of duty. So the fact that they didn't even mention him is also a point of concern. Keep in mind, there were other black officers that were involved there in that first traffic stop. There are other officers that were at the second scene, and they don't care about them. Why are they not demanding their names be released? They want Hemphill's name released, and there's one reason why, and you and I know why. But they'll deny it, but you can't deny it. It's so obvious. Why is his identity and the role he played in Tyre's death just now coming to light? He didn't play a role in Tyre's death. Tyre was perfectly healthy when they caught up to him at that second scene. If they had never found him, he'd be roaming the streets now. We have asked from the beginning that the Memphis Police Department be transparent with the family and the community. This news seems to indicate that they haven't risen to the occasion. It certainly begs the question. It does not beg the question. You stupid shits don't even understand what that means. Begs the question is a logical fallacy. It is not a synonym for raises the question. You've been to college. You should know that. Okay, it certainly begs the question why the white officer involved in this brutal attack was shielded and protected from the public eye, and to date from sufficient discipline and accountability. Well, he was probably protected from the public eye because a mob would go after him for no good reason. He hasn't done anything wrong. In fact, I think the police department is scratching their head trying to figure out how they can punish him and make it stick. There was certainly no reason, in my opinion, to announce his name. You show me where he violated policy. You show me any law that he violated. Okay? The Memphis Police Department owes us all answers. They don't owe you shit. Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy said in a statement Monday that the investigation was ongoing and more charges could be filed. I don't know if he's talking about Hemphill or not, but they'll find something. They have to. We are looking at all individuals involved in the events leading up to, during, and after the beating of Tyre Nichols. Okay, you see what I mean? Hell, I imagine the dispatcher is probably going to get roped into this somehow if he or she is white. This includes the officer present at the initial encounter who has not so far been charged, Memphis Fire Department personnel, and persons who participated in preparing documentation of the incident afterward. If they're white. You have to put "if they're white" after every one of these statements. The DA's office worked extraordinarily swiftly, but thoroughly to charge those whose offenses were plain and clear and directly contributed to the death of Mr. Nichols. But in no way is this investigation over. So in other words, we got the guys that actually caused the death, but we're looking to charge others too. Anybody we can find, if they're white.
Well, hey, motherfuckers. Now I just gotta say it. I did not share that image of Preston Hempfield's picture because he's a white man and I'm trying to prove some black-white divide. What I said from the very motherfucking beginning is that every officer that laid a finger on that young black king deserves life in prison in general motherfucking population. Point blank motherfucking period. However, Officer Hempfield is the motherfucker that you see rolling up right before they drag him out the car. Immediately after they did, he's the one that tased them. He's also the motherfucker that sprayed that mace, which actually got in the other officers' eyes and blinded them so that Tyre could get the fuck up and run. He shares responsibility. He's guilty of being a part of what led to his death. Point blank motherfucking period. It ain't black, white, it's justice, motherfucker.
So let me see if I got his argument right. Preston Hemphill sprayed the OC, which, by the way, I have not heard about, and that allowed Tyre Nichols to escape, and therefore when he ran away, he angered the other cops and they beat him to death. So it's the fault of Hemphill for what happened. This argument, this logic is just so distorted. But you know why it is. And he says, it's not about race. It's not about race. Oh, it's everything about race. Give me a break. Preston Hemphill was the only white officer involved in the Tyre Nichols death. And she puts an exclamation point. He was suspended, but not fired nor arrested. An investigation is ongoing. Exclamation point. He was who initially tasered Tyre Nichols. Actually, no, he didn't. The taser didn't stick. He tried to taser him. By the way, it's tased. Oh, big picture here. You're going to see a lot of that. I openly speculate, the Good Old Boys Network in the Memphis Police Department. I don't think you have a bunch of Roscoes and Cletuses there. And it's headed by a black woman. I openly speculate that the Good Old Boys Network kept Preston Hemphill's name and involvement in the deadly attack on Tyre Nichols out of the public to give him time to do as much social media scrubbing as he could before releasing it. Oh, yeah, right. Give me a break. It doesn't do any good to do any social media scrubbing. We went through this in the Kyle Rittenhouse case. It doesn't do any good. You can't scrub social media. You can remove it on your local account, but it's still on the drives at Facebook, and you can get a warrant for it. Let's also charge Preston Hemphill with second-degree murder with the Memphis murder of Tyre Nichols. White people in Memphis and the media are trying to protect him, separate him from this act of brutality and place. No, actually, he did that. He separated himself from that by not chasing after Tyre Nichols. He wasn't there at the scene. And place all the blame only on the 5 other black officers. You see what I'm saying? I mean, I'm laughing, but this is not funny. This dude is going to be going through a living hell. Now, keep in mind, as I said before, there are probably other black officers that had a role in the initial stop, and they're not going to go after them. They don't care about them. Social media is the only reason Preston Hemphill has been identified, forcing the Memphis Police Department to administer paid suspension. It's been reported that Officer Hemphill violently pulled Tyre from his car, tased him, actually he didn't, and said something to the effect of, "I hope they stomp his ass." Again, whatever. It doesn't matter. Sticks and stones. And paid suspension because you can't suspend him without pay. You have to prove that he's actually violated police policy. Hemphill, sacked or on paid leave. He's on paid leave. Okay? Get used to it. It's called a due process that you're all in favor of until a white dude gets it. And all of a sudden, that due process, we got to get rid of it. Go ahead and add Officer Preston Hemphill to that line of photos. See what I mean? You got 5 black guys, got to get a white guy in there. They're basically admitting it. If he was on scene and did not step in to stop the murder, well, he wasn't, fire him too. And actually, if he was on scene and he didn't do anything to stop it, yeah, he probably should be fired. I don't know if you would want to levy charges against him because, after all, I mean, you really should convict those who actually did the killing. Can't quite, and they put, white in their, the Q white. Oh, how clever. Can't quite figure out why this guy, Preston Hemphill, wasn't charged with murder like the 5 other Memphis cops. Should we tell him? Here's a photo of Officer Preston Hemphill. He was seen tasing Tyre Nichols, and his attorney says the first video is from Hemphill's body cam. His attorney, Lee Gerald, said in part, he was never present at the second scene. He is cooperating with officials in this investigation. Hey, an actual, tweet that's rational. But keep in mind, I don't think that you can claim that Hemphill was tasing anybody. Memphis police officer Preston Hemphill is the officer that tased Tyre Nichols. He is also heard on camera saying, "Stomp his ass." He should be fired along with the rest of them. I wonder why he hasn't been fired and dragged through the media. Oh, hang around a few days. Oh, maybe because he is white. He's only being dragged through the media now because he's white. Thanks, House of Petty, MNN, I guess. Meet Preston Hemphill. Let's make him famous. All right. Preston Hemphill was suspended. And at the end he says, apparently white cops are treated differently. Oh, yeah. He's going to find out how differently he's going to be treated. The 5 black cops weren't relieved of duty. They were charged with murder. That's because they actually participated in killing Tyre Nichols, and Preston didn't. That might be the reason why. Oh, here he is, Benjamin Crump. Why did it take so long for Memphis officials to reveal Officer Preston Hemphill's identity and that he was reportedly relieved of duty weeks ago, but not yet terminated or charged? Why was the white officer involved in the brutal attack of Tyre Nichols shielded and protected? By the way, this man is the scum of the earth. There is no bigger rat around than Benjamin Crump. The fact that the Memphis Police Department had to be called out before they took action against former officer Preston Hemphill speaks volumes. Hey, I hate to disappoint you there, dude, but he's still a member of the Memphis Police Department. So this is enough. Like my video, subscribe to my channel, and Preston, I hope that you can get some representation here. I'm just concerned that your lawyer is just going to try to do this the typical way, and I'm not sure that's going to work.